Mic check 1 2. Okay, and we're live. As you can see, I recently received a package via the mail. It was a photo book by George Byrne called Post Truth. I've been waiting for it for a couple of months now, so really stoked that it finally arrived. George's style can be described as fine art street photography. There's a big focus on airy pastel colors, a lot of interesting compositions with a lot of geometric shapes and lines, where he plays with harsh shadows and harsh sunlight. It often feels like looking at cubistic paintings with the distinct Californian flavor. The goal of this video is, after this small unboxing, I will go over a couple of my favorite images from the book and zoom in on a couple of elements that particularly draw my attention. And afterwards I will also show a couple of photos from my archive where I used a couple of elements that can be attributed to George's style. So without further ado, let's open this book and see what's inside. Let's dive in and look at a couple of pictures that really stand out to me. This one, for example, I think this one is, I like this one a lot. Why? Because it's a very simple composition, mainly focused on these geometric shapes and the colorful elements that are dotted across the image. The tree as a shadow, but mainly it's the simplicity of George's work that really draw me. It gives me some kind of calmness, but it's very thoughtful. You see that the compositions are very methodical, very almost perfect. But he always includes some type of element, like for example here you see a little piece missing in the wall to give it that wabi-sabi effect. So it's perfect, but there's just that little thing that makes it human or real, maybe you could say. Again, color is a very big factor in George's work. I also, like for example in this image right here, this image without the shadow, in my opinion, wouldn't be half as strong. And this also highlights the fact that some pictures, some photos can only be taken at a certain time during the day, giving the correct weather conditions. So you need harsh sunlight for an image like this. And at a particular moment of the day, this image comes together. And again, he adds some type of little small real element to make sure that it's still a photograph and not a painting or something completely fabricated. Again here, this picture is just made by the geometric shapes and the shadows. Very, very nice. So who is this book for? I think this book is, for me at least, it's really an inspiration to go out and look for compositions that are driven by color, that are driven by a longer focal length, trying to really cut out the compositions in a larger scene, especially if you go into urban environments, and also the fact that most of these shots are taken at times where most photographers would say, I don't take pictures during midday or during harsh sunlight. But he proves basically that even with harsh sunlight, if you know how to use it, how to utilize it, it still gives a lot of potential to create awesome images. So if anyone's interested, I would suggest you surely go over to his website and order the book yourself. This one is a signed copy, so it's a first edition, 2020, signed and numbered. So this is number 172 of the 1500s of the first edition. So if you're fast, maybe you can still pick up a copy. So yeah, let's dive into a couple of my pictures where I also tried to specifically shoot for color or try to utilize shadows, geometric shapes. So let's dive in. Okay, so looking at this first image, I took this one in a parking lot in Antwerp, my hometown. Of course, gorgeous car. I mean, you have this matte green Porsche, but I was really drawn to this specific scene where you have the green in this wall right here. You have the yellow lines that are dotted across the composition, and I think the combination of the green and the yellows added with this little touch of red. This is truly what I mean by going out to shoot and take color as your primary driver. So really like this image. This one was also no, this one was shot in Sweden during a hike. We passed some type of cabin. I swear this scene was exactly how it's put right here. I did not stage anything or move anything. This was just a colorful hut somewhere during a hike, and you had this gorgeous pink-like color on the woodwork. You had the yellow door, and then for some reason, I think the owner of this cabin was very color aware, and he even color coordinated his brooms that were sitting outside on this porch. In itself, if you omit the colors, this composition would be nothing. But when you factor in the colors, somehow it seems to fit. And then you have this geometric-like shape of the ground. So if you really want to dive into this composition, you could still tweak some things. I mean, if I look at it right now, and if I look at George's work, I probably could have done something even more considerate. This is more or less, I wouldn't say a snapshot, but this was quickly taken. But maybe I could frame the door a bit different to include some type of geometric shape, which might even lift this image up in quality. Next one, also some shot I took in Sweden. This is basically a parking lot. This is heavily edited, so I basically took out all the contrast in this picture. So I dragged down the highlights, I lifted up the shadows to create this very low contrast image, but I really wanted to focus on the color here. So every part of the ceiling has a different color, and when you mute the colors like I did in this picture, I think it really is a very, very compelling image. You still have the small details where you have the street scene, making it a realistic picture in some way. And I think this is also something that is very much influenced by looking at George's work and then taking that into my own flavor, trying to incorporate elements of that style into my own perspective and my own style. Funny little detail, you might have seen it. There's a little pigeon on top here, adding to the drama of this picture. And then as a final image that I wanted to share, this is a shot I took in Italy. You can see it was harsh sunlight still, very harsh shadows. And I intentionally drew this triangle shape on the floor. You have the triangle here in the window across the shutters. And then you have this contrast of the yellow of the bike with the green of the shutters. Adding a couple of imperfections to the composition just to highlight the fact that it's still a street scene, but that I wanted to make some type of abstract calmness into a very vibrant Italian city. There was a lot of noise, a lot of people walking around, little scooters going back and forth. And this image really brings some type of peace, some type of calmness into the bigger picture of the scene where it was shot. So yeah, this was basically what I wanted to share with you guys. So again, if you're interested in George's work, check him out, maybe cop a book. I hope I was able to inspire you guys to go out and shoot. I know in these COVID days it's not that easy, but next time the sun is shining and there are harsh shadows, try to go for an abstract composition, and yeah, let's create some more.